Okay, I'm going to make a video on storing two Classic Bic lighters into a bug out bag, and it's going to involve an Altoids can. This is the standard size. I'll leave it in there. Anyway, so there's a cotton ball hot glued here for a reason, and I have a paper lining in the bottom for a reason as well. And the paper lining in the Altoids can is just a paper plate. I cut out the middle of a paper plate and put this in the bottom just to, so it's not tinny. There's a little bit of a cushion there. So what I'm going to do is put these in here like this. And there's a reason why there's a burn mark here, because I've tried this a few times. So that's the way I'd like to store them inside this Altoids can. And the reason why I want to do this is I don't want anything to push down on the valve for the lighter. I've noticed with Bic lighters, I've had these for about 2 weeks, and I've noticed with both types of their lighters, the electronic and the classic, if you just barely touch this valve, it opens up the gas. So you can't have anything hitting these valves. And I guess there's different ways you can put something under here or wrap it around to keep this from being depressed while in storage. But my experience with things is if you can protect it even more than that, it's probably a better way to do it. So they do fit in an Altoids can. Let's flip it so that label's not there. And if you notice, it's curved right here. So as long as they're in the can like this, it doesn't look like any kind of thing is going to push down onto those valves. And that's my goal, is just to have as much open space around the valve part of the lighter so that there's no chance of anything really moving around and pushing down on those tabs. So I'm just going to show a technique that I kind of worked with today and just see what you guys think of it. What I'm going to do, I got hot glue on my finger, is take some hot glue and glue these together. So there's about that much of a gap between the two of them. And I've got to hold it. And I'm going down about, or from the bottom about 1/3 of the way up. I don't really want it in the center. So I think that's enough. I'm just going to put the two together. This hot glue takes a while to set up. So it's about 1/3, the full length of the lighter, it's about 1/3 of the way up. And I tried doing this laying it down, it didn't work very good, so you almost have to hold it. And maybe you can see the gap. I'm trying to make sure that the tips of the lighters are not touching. the top part of the lighter. So I just want to make sure there's a gap. Okay, it feels like it's starting to stiffen up now. Okay. So I think it's almost there. Okay, so it's glued. And you can put it in just like that. So it just, you can see that it just keeps them together so they're not flipping and all that stuff that you really don't want. So once you've got them glued, then you can take and right between the two, put a pretty good glob. And once again, you have to kind of even it out so that the space here and here are equal. So I'm just going to hold that there. So obviously, if you do this, it's not meant to be used all the time because this, you know, it's kind of a big process to get them out of there once you've glued all this in. I have no idea how long a Bic Classic lighter can last with the fluid. So this is, I'm hoping it's at least a few years that it can stay in storage and the fluid doesn't evaporate or drain out or however it leaks out of the unit. I just know that these tabs, these red tabs, if there's any amount of pressure on them, it opens up the valve. So, you know, they're designed well, I mean, but for this case, for this situation, we don't want those valves to accidentally get pushed down while they're in storage, because then it will drain all the fluid out, and you know, it could be a little bit of a safety risk too. You don't want butane all over your bug out bag. Of course, it does evaporate quickly, so I think it's still a little tacky. So I think you're probably getting an idea of what's going on here by now. And then this cotton is to hold it flat against the back of the Altoids can so it doesn't wiggle around that way. And then you could take some more cotton. I think it's there. So you could take some more cotton and just kind of push it down here and down here. This one's a little thicker than the other. So you're still keeping, you know, I can still get my knife around the valve, and that's what you want. You don't want these lighters to move around, because when they start moving around, then there's a chance that something could happen where these things get pushed down. Earlier today I tried putting glue or whatever underneath the valve. It worked, but my dad was still able to light it, and he didn't even know there was glue on there, so obviously that didn't work. And it was hard to get the glue back off the tab. So it wasn't going to work that way. So you have all this in here. So it's glued here, it's glued here. It's pretty solid. And you have cotton here and cotton here, which I'm learning that cotton's a good fire starter, so it's good to have cotton in here. It's serving a couple purposes. And then of course this piece is to keep it pushed down. So, you know, the lid pops up. What happened to my rubber band? Oh, I lost my rubber band. Oh, here it is. And you know, it doesn't shake. Can't hear anything shaking around in there. So I'm gonna do something like this, and then I'm gonna check it like every so often, maybe every 6 months, just to make sure these Bic lighters are still holding their fluid. So when you want to get them out, you can see that the cotton stick to the hot glue a little bit. So when you want to get them out, you just pull them out. Oh, I put a little bit more glue this time. So most of the glue came off, and then you just twist it like this, and they break off, and you got your lighters. Of course, Altoids tins are not waterproof, so I haven't got that far yet. But my main concern was keeping these valves in a container where they most likely won't get pushed down. I've had weird things happening to me just working as a handyman, and you know, things that you don't think would happen. So I'm just trying to make a container that I think would work. I can't guarantee it would work, but there doesn't seem to be too many things in the container that would look like they would accidentally push that valve down for whatever reason. And I don't think this container would get hot enough, hopefully, to melt the hot glue, because if it's going to melt the hot glue, it'll probably screw up the lighter anyway. So anyway, you can give me your thoughts on this, what you think if this would work, or any good ideas that might help improve on it. Okay, thanks for watching.